Hello gamers, Kenning here from Fuzzle Bukkit with another episode of Hearthstone, and today we'll be featuring a Druid deck I found on the Hearthstone subreddits posted by Effex. Now I've been playing this deck for about a week and I'm really liking it. It's kind of my favorite go-to deck right now. I'm bumping up in the ladder a little bit. This was kind of coined an OTK deck. It's not really a true one-turn kill, but based on some of the combos it actually can be played out that way. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at it real quick. Now this is a Malygos Druid deck. Mid to late game deck. This is very similar to the deck that Effex had posted, but as usual I'm missing a card or two, or there's a particular card in my playstyle I'm not really comfortable with, I don't like playing with. So I swapped a few around, but essentially it's very close to the same. Starting with two Innervates. The original only has one. I had a filler card. I was at 29 or 30, and I threw in another Innervate because there are some high cost minions in here, and having an extra two can help out quite a bit. Then we've got two Moonfires. Now this is of course a 0 cost 1 damage, but with something such as a Malygos on the board, that becomes a 0 cost 6. And if you had two Moonfires in your hand, that's a turn 9 12 damage play essentially, just using Malygos and 0 cost Moonfires. You've got two Claws. This, of course, is +2 to your hero for the particular turn, but it's 2 armor permanently, so that's kind of a pseudo heal, if you will. In addition to your Ancient of Lore, which is here for restoring 5 health. I don't normally use the draw 2 cards option. Normally, when my Ancient of Lore is in my hand, I'm getting down a little low. I need to restore some health. We'll get down to those in a minute. Why don't we go back up to, down to the Wrath. So this is a 3 damage, or you get to choose 1 damage and draw a card. Normally it seems to play out where I'm using it as a 3 damage for removal, but occasionally there's a card on the board, a minion that has 1 health, and I get to really get my benefit for Wrath by doing damage, removal, and drawing a card. Now Loot Hoarder is not in the original deck. This is a card I like to play because of the Death Rattle and the 2 cost, and I was actually using it to replace Bloodmage Thalnos, which Effex also says in his post that card can be replaced. It's kind of a hit or miss card. I personally do not like Bloodmage Thalnos. I think it's just kind of a wasted slot. I don't think it's a very valuable legendary at all. Some may disagree with me. I just have never found a use for him. We got two Novice Engineers. This is essential for your card draw in your deck. Just great cards to have. 2 Swipes. Of course, this is a 4 damage to one enemy, 1 across the board to everyone else. It's a good board clear, especially when you've got other spell damage in play. It becomes a 5-2, or heaven forbid, you've got a Malygos in play. Then that becomes a 9-5, which is absolutely insane. 2 Chillwind Yetis. This isn't not in the original deck, per se. He's running 2 Twilight Drakes. However, he does say that 2 Yetis are a good replacement for Twilight Drakes, and I opted for that replacement because, well, I don't have them. I know Twilight Drake's a good card, I just haven't invested the time to actually purchase those, and whenever I open up a pack of cards, I just don't get them. So I'm running the Chillwind Yetis. Of course, this is also great against your priests and things where it's a 4 cost, and it's right in between that Shadow Word Kill, Shadow Word Death. We've got 2 Keeper of the Groves here. This is an invaluable card in this deck, in my opinion. The 2 damage is nice. I use that a lot, and the silence is great as well, because this is really the only silence card you have in the deck. I find myself 50-50 using one or the other on those. Plus, you've got a 2/4 on the board. This is absolutely incredible. I would run 3 or 4 of these if I could, honestly. I really love this card. Let's see. I got a Starfall in here. Now there's only 1 in the original deck. I stuck with that. The original deck also has a Nourish at 5 cost. I don't have a Nourish card, so I moved some stuff around. But Starfall itself is 5 damage to a minion or 2 across the board. Again, with spell power, which is our next card here, the Azure Drake, that he becomes even more powerful. The Azure Drakes are pretty much essential in this deck. You've got to run them. You get your spell damage, plus you get to draw a card. There's not more I can say about it. You got to have the Azure Drakes in there. Your Druid of the Claw. Of course, we've got 2 of these. Now, more often than not, you're going to be using a +2 health and taunt option. In some situations, using the charge is okay, but if you're not sure, go with the taunt versus the charge. The charge is really only there if you need to, if you've got kill damage on the board and you just need that extra 4 to push you over the edge. The Faceless Manipulator, he's actually recommending 2, and I would agree with that recommendation. I just don't have to. This is an invaluable card again. In almost every deck I run, I try to squeeze in a Faceless Manipulator because that's essentially a legendary, or any other high buffed minion that your opponent is playing. It's a 5 cost, copy whatever you want. Excuse me. It's just a great card to have. Now, the Gadgetzan Auctioneer is not in the original deck, and this was one I wasn't sure if I was going to put in or not. I was missing a few cards from the deck, and with all the spells in here, if he's out, he's great. He usually doesn't last very long. I may or may not change this one out. This is kind of a hit or miss. Sometimes he's valuable, sometimes he's not. We've got 1 Starfire, which is, of course, a 5 damage, draw a card. It's essentially there for that high minion health removal and the card draw. And coupled with some spell power, it's even better. 2 Ancient of Lores. These are great, mainly for the restore 5 health. Rarely do I get to use the draw 2 card option. It is an option, but usually you're taking some hits early on, and other than your claw or your hero power, you're probably going to need to recoup some health. More often than not, it seems like my opponent feels he's winning in the beginning, and then I heal myself up, and then I come back in the end for the win. So that's why these cards here are crucial. 1 Ancient of War. He does recommend you could run 2 Ancient of Wars, or 1 and another Iron Bark. I prefer 1 of each. They're pretty high cost. The Ancient of War I like because it's you get to choose it's a 10-5 or a 5-10 with taunt. I don't ever choose the 10-5. It just doesn't seem to work out that way. Normally I'm in a defensive position where I need to put this out for that 5-10 taunt. But it's a 5-10 versus if I had substituted this for another Iron Bark, it's an 8-8. It's a little more attack power, but generally these are put in place as a defensive maneuver, and that extra 2 health just seems to cost my enemy or my opponent a little more time or some more cards to actually burn to bring down a 5-10 versus an 8-8. But either or, it depends on your playstyle. And then, of course, our last card is the Malygos, which is kind of the clutch card in this deck, that +5 spell damage. He's usually only played in the very end to clinch the win, but, you know, I guess he's a 4/12. I guess you could put him out early and then not have burnt all your spells, but really this is meant to be the 1-turn kill combo card, if you will. So, enough of the deck. Why don't we go ahead and queue up a session, and we'll see how we do. So we've drawn into a mage, everyone. The old mage. I haven't actually played a lot of mages with this deck, so I'm kind of anxious to see how this works out. We're going to keep the Novice Engineer. Gonna keep the Innervate, and I'm actually going to dump the Auctioneer. Like I said earlier, he's not a super powerful card in this particular deck. I love the Face Manipulator, but I'm gonna dump him for now. And we've got our Starfall and Azure Drake. Okay, we can work with this. Of course, we have the coin and the Innervate, so that's a +3. Essentially, we can turn 2 Azure Drake if we really wanted to.
Hello.
Well, hello to you. And I don't feel like I'm going to coin into a Novice Engineer. I'm going to pass the turn. We'll play our Novice Engineer next round. Interesting. A Wild Pyromancer is the first play. I need to read this again. I don't normally see this card. 1 damage to all minions every time you cast a spell, huh? Well, I think we'll just play our Novice Engineer, and I need to think about how to remove this. I don't know if I really want to waste a silence on that. my question is, does that 1 damage get increased with spell damage, in which case it could be pretty brutal pretty quick. Let's pass the turn. We've got our Moonfire. I do like to save the Moonfires. It's a 1 damage. I just like to keep it in my hand when I have that Malygos, because then I know I've got a sure 6 cost, or a 6. What do you... You're going straight for the hero damage, huh? Interesting. Okay, so we have... That's an interesting card. I'm not sure why. Perhaps that was their only play. Well, let's see. I'm not getting any removal, although I probably don't need much removal because this is going to do it for me. In which case, do I really want to play anything at this point? I don't think I do, actually. I think I'm going to hero power. We'll take care of these. And pass the turn. I think the best play might be to just let this play itself out. It's a pretty good chance as the mage is going to be playing a lot of spells, so that'll kill itself next turn. Although I see the benefit to, you know, if we leave him on the board, you know, that's 6 damage he's been able to do to me with that card. Yeah, I get it. And we could Moonfire, or we could Starfall. And I think... yeah, this is a pretty dangerous card to have out on the board with a mage. So why don't we coin into our Starfall now? Let's just take care of all this. And we'll pass the turn. We've got a card advantage. We've taken some hits early on. It's okay. This type of deck is built to handle a little bit of damage. It's more of a mid to late game. And that's absolutely a silence.
Hello.
Well, greetings to you. We don't have any of our Keepers of the Grove, which is really our only silence. So this is going to be a little dangerous here. It looks like... I think to stave off any more hits to the face, we're going to put out a taunt. That won't kill her if she attacks into it. And I need my... although... I may kill Sylvanas on purpose next turn with a Wrath and a Moonfire. If I kill Sylvanas... I'm thinking if I run into Sylvanas with the Druid of the Claw, or she runs into the Druid of the Claw, I can kill Sylvanas, give her a very weak Druid of the Claw taunt, and then take it out. But let's see. What's the play? More taunts, more mirror images. Okay, well he chooses not to touch my taunt. We don't have any of our mass removal, and I don't have any of my silence. I'm kind of depending on a few cards right now, which is not usually a good thing. But we do have other options. Those being a Azure Drake. That extra, there's my Keeper of the Grove. Outstanding. And I've got it just enough. No, I don't. Oh, dear Lord, we made a mistake. I don't have my coin. Well, let's not waste that. Oh no, I can't believe I missed that. For some reason, I looked at the Moonfire as a coin. Oh no. Well, I don't want to waste this, so let's do 2 to draw a card. Shoot, I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I know. Let's take out that taunt. We're gonna save our Moonfires. Pass the turn. Oh my gosh. What was I thinking? Well, we have our silence for Sylvanas. I think I focused entirely too much on getting that silence for Sylvanas and didn't pay attention to the rest of the board. And we're frozen. Hero power. 1 damage. Alright. Excellent. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. She's down to 1. We will keep her the Grove to silence her. And we will Moonfire to take care of that card. Get it out of the way. But thank you. And the Mana Worm needs to go next, but we can only do 2 damage with a Moonfire. And it looks like we're going to have to hero power up. Do 1 damage. 2 to the Moonfire. I'm not going to innervate, nothing I can do about it. And pass the turn. Now, the Azure Drake needs to go next, obviously, with that spell power and a mage. That's just 1 extra spell power, and with a... She's got turn 8. Oh, boy. We need another silence. That is probably the most brutal card a mage can ever play. It is essentially a constant fireball again and again and again. I run it in my own mage deck. It's a great card. I absolutely don't fault him one bit for putting that card in there, but it poses a really big problem. Now we could Starfire, which I think we might have to do because we really need to get rid of that card, and I don't have any of my mass removal. Unfortunately, a Starfire is going to give us 1 short, and we're going to have to take 5 damage. I really don't want to do that. There's my other spell power. I can't innervate enough. I'm 1 short. We just cannot have that on the board. We have to do what we have to do. Sucks, but we got to do it. Of course, there's our swipe. That's kind of what we needed earlier. You know what? I'm going to actually innervate just to put my Loot Hoarder out because I need the potential for card draw and a way to... Uh-oh. Are you threatening me? Do you have Pyroblasts, or are you just mad because I took out your Archmage? We're down to 15. That's really low against a mage. And I don't actually have any of my heals out, so we're in some trouble here. Don't kill the spell power. Excellent.
I'm sorry.
That's alright. Don't be too sorry. We are going to do some damage. Unfortunately, that is entirely too low, and this came in too late, so this might not be a good match for us. We do need to armor up. Absolutely need to armor up. Pass the turn. And we are so dangerously low that the Ancient of Lore is absolutely the next card we have to play against a mage. Flame Strike. Oh boy. At least we get some card draw out of it. Yeah, we're down to 7. This is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. I said we'd take some hits. That was a little too many, actually. We are not going to run ourselves into that Mana Worm. We can't afford the 2 damage right now. I'm debating actually putting another Ancient of Lore for another 5 health down. We really want to keep that mage without cards. Okay, freeze. Hero damage. And what's the last card? Play it. Play all your cards. We don't want any 6 damage. Yeah, see, that was... We are in trouble. Well, the hero damage, or the hero power, will only do 1. However, any spell that is drawn will pretty much kill us. So the question is, do we put out the taunt? I think we have to, actually, because the Mana Worm's going to run in regardless. Unfortunately, all we can do is hero power. That Mana Worm is just causing us problems. We just have to hope she doesn't draw a damage spell.
Mind if I roll need?
1 damage to... Interesting. Good play, actually. Very good play. Draws into an Arcane Intellect for 2 more cards. Searching for that spell to take us out. Frost Nova. Pretty annoying, pretty annoying. Oh boy. We need the health. We can't play our swipe. We will be playing it next turn, however, because it'll take out that Mana Worm. But we absolutely need our health.
For the wilds.
Man, this is getting frustrating. We can still win. Believe it or not, we've got a chance here. It depends on...
I'll be just like you.
Okay. Coming cold. Not going to help you. We do have our spell power with our swipe, so we can clear the board here. And I think we're going to keep the keeper of the grove in our hand. Spell power. There's our Iron Bark. Excellent. Now we have to do 5 to the Mana Worm, unfortunately, because, well, that has to go away. We will pass the turn. Now we don't really have any more heals other than our hero power, so we're still in dangerous territory, but we've got plenty of taunts. We've got our Iron Bark and we have our Ancient of War. So any minions played on the field will won't be able to get through. Uh-oh. I get concerned when they say that. Well, let's see here. Do we I'm gonna put out the... Well, we have 18 damage. Ah, that's kill. Was I not paying attention? I wasn't paying attention. And Keeper of the Grove for 2 damage. Well played. And that's how you win with the Malygos Druid deck. That's actually... I'm glad that happened to show how low you can go and come back, even against a mage. Now, it was really touch and go for a minute there. We really were very, very close to dying. However, that is the Malygos Druid deck brought to us by Effex from the Hearthstone subreddit. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and if you'd like to see more of this deck or you have any questions, let me know. I'll be posting the forum post and the deck builder image in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.